Hey YouTube, what's up? So I want to come through for a brief moment, for a quick moment here, and talk about skin tone dynamics in Black slash African American relationships. All right. And I've sort of noticed this for a while, and I think we all may notice this, but I feel like no one has really ever spoken about it, right? And I know what you may be thinking from the title of this video. You're thinking, oh, of course, it's like, dark skinned folks with light skinned folks, light skinned folks with dark skinned folks, right? And that's a part of it. But what I want to concentrate on more so is the subtle difference or differences in skin tone between, you know, men and women in relationships. All right. Because if you notice, that does play out low key, right? Where it's like you'll have a brown skinned woman with a dark skinned man, right? And usually if I see that relationship dynamic, I tend to see that as like a win, for, like brown skin, dark skin, black love, And that's why I do see that relationship dynamic in my day-to-day life play out a lot. Um, but it's interesting that it's like even though they're kind of like both would be considered on the darker side, it's still like, oh, it's a darker skin man with a lighter skinned woman, even though the skin tone differences aren't extremely drastic, right? Um, but yeah, I find that to be a little, something interesting to note, right? You'll often see that play out a lot, right? Um, let's see. Another thing, a lot of times when you see that brown skin, dark skin relationship dynamic, do you tend to see the woman being the darker of the two or the man being the darker of the two? I think more than often you will probably see the man being the darker of the two. Um, for some reason, it doesn't always play out like that, but oftentimes it does. Um, let's see. Even within relationship dynamics of like light skin mixed and biracial folks, right? On the rarity when they get together, right? You'll see that playing out too a little bit, a lot of it, where it's like feeling like it's kind of like, oh, you have like sometimes it'll be like a light skinned man, probably multi-generational mix with like the first generational mix female, right? The You'll see that play out too sometimes. Where it's like even though they're kind of like near each other's skin tone, they still tend to be playing on this like dark, masculine, light, feminine dynamic. Even though they're still on this within their skin tone differences aren't drastic. It's very slight, right? And it also kind of plays out with features too. It's like the dudes tend to have 4C hair, while the women tend to have, mm, I guess, hair that would be loosely textured. I'm not really familiar with the hair scale. I just know about 4C because I see that one come up very often, especially in black spaces for, obvious reasons, of course, right? But yeah, you'll see that relationship dynamic playing out too. And I suppose even with like white people, you will see that play out where it's like, oh, the blonde hair fair maiden with, the dark haired man, right? You'll see that play out too, even though they're both the same skin tone, right? But of course, it doesn't always happen like that, right? But I feel like, is it something to take note of? You know, is it just like something that is just common nature? Like, is it, should we just stop trying to fight against the dynamic that, dark is masculine and light is feminine? Should we just accept that? Or should it, should it be challenged? You know, I think it should be challenged, but I don't think people want to challenge it because, people are ultimately happy in the situation that they're in. You know, particularly if you don't feel like it negatively affects you. Perhaps if you feel like it positively affects you, then, why stop a good thing, right? Um, but of course, there's times when this relationship dynamic doesn't play out. You know, um, like when light-skinned men and brown-skinned, dark-skinned women have relationships. That would be sort of like, well, I think that would challenge that dynamic, right? It would challenge the masculine feminine skin tone dynamic, right? Also, when brown skin and dark skin women interracially date, especially like um, men with lighter skin tones, that also helps challenge that dynamic as well. Um, but I'm just making this video just to sort of put it out there and just explore this topic a little bit. And I know somebody's going to come through, right, and be like, this is stupid. Shut up. You know? In fact, I actually had a YouTube user who's been subscribed to me for a while now. Dark skinned brother. Like on a previous video that I did, I believe he may have read the title of the video and like jumped to conclusions. And I feel like I'll read his comment off because I think it would apply to this video and someone having criticism about this video that I'm making. All right. So he responded, you know, under the assumption that I was saying basically date your own skin tone, right? Exactly, point blank, your own skin tone. You have to match it up 100%, right? So he responded with, that's a dumbass premise. All sub-Saharan Africans aren't the same damn skin tone. You have blue black people in Sudan. You have different gradients of brown in West Africa. You even have light-skinned unmixed black people. The Sands people of South Africa. So albinos should only date albinos even though they come from the same color parentage? Laugh my ass off. Right? I'm like, calm down, my dark-skinned brother. Calm down. I'm not trying to take your red bones away from you. And I tell you, these dudes will raise hell if you try to take their red bones away from them. You know. And, I just responded with the following. Did you actually watch the video or just assume things based on the title? And then he responded, laugh my ass off. I'm going to watch it later. And that was the end of his response, right? But yeah, and I'm sure some light-skinned chicks are going to come through too and have some issues too. And I'm like, calm down, Light Bright. Calm down, all right? I'm not trying to take away, your chocolate thunder from you, all right? I'm not trying to take away your chocolate daddy from you, all right? I'm not trying to take away your Hershey bar from you, okay? Calm down. I'm just trying to explore some topics, all right? And the light-skinned chicks can get straight up ignorant with it too. Like, don't be fooled but thinking that they so damn innocent. All right, because they ain't that innocent. All right, but I think I pretty much said all I have to say for the moment. I just want to get you guys' opinions and viewpoints on this particular subject. You know, do you personally consider it a win when you see maybe two brown and dark skinned people together? I think, like, for me personally, I tend to consider that a win. As well, I guess I would consider it, I guess, quote unquote, a win when I see two light skinned folks together, even though one may be biracial or whatever you're saying. But as well, I think it's a win when you see a light skinned man with a dark skinned woman. I do think that is a win too. But what do you think is a win? I guess against colorism, I should say. Let me know in the comments section. And as well, what do you think about, the skin tone dynamic in Black/African American relationships? Do you think that's something that we should take note of? Do you think we should just ignore it? Do you think I'm just creating more issues than there need to be? Do you think I just need to stop it and just, stop being so divisive and finding problems and fault in everything? In every little situation in the Black community? Let me know in the comment section. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.